and this is Across the Fence. I only have one fruit tree in my yard so far, and it's an apple tree, a very prolific apple tree. So over the past few years, I've been steadily adding to my growing compendium of apple recipes. Trust me, I make a mean apple crumble. To enjoy cooking with apples, however, you don't have to have your own tree. There are nearly 40 pick-your-own apple operations, orchards, and cider producers in Vermont. That's according to the Vermont Fruit Tree Growers Association. Wherever your apples come from, you'll find cooking inspiration in this month's recipe program. Marco has chosen a couple of classic apple recipes to share and one or two surprises. What's cooking, Marco?
Thank you, Amy. Hi, I'm Marco Ayala, and I'm here to share another recipe with all of you. And Amy, I gotta tell you that you are going to have to plant a couple more apple trees because there is such an abundance of amazing recipes that involve apples here in Vermont because, well, as all of you know, apples from Vermont are absolutely delicious. So I always recommend that you get your apples from a local producer. And yes, Amy, you are correct as well, because I have some recipes that are those classic Vermont flavors. However, there's a little bit of a twist there. So let's start with apple and cheddar. Two great things from Vermont. As you can see, I have my cheddar cheese right here because I'm a big fan. So I wanted to make a recipe that brings these two classic Vermont ingredients together. So that's how I came up with the idea to make these apple cheddar bundles. And look at these little pastries. They look amazing and they're so easy to make. So if you want to make a recipe that looks just like this, and as I said, it's gonna take you probably half an hour, 45 minutes, stay with me so I can tell you how to put it together. First, you're gonna take two medium Honeycrisp apples and you're gonna cut them into slices, and then you're gonna cut those slices in half. In a bowl, you're gonna toss your apples with the juice of half a lemon, then you're gonna add the lemon zest of 1 lemon, and of course, because we're in Vermont, 4 tablespoons maple syrup. Toss it well and set it aside. In this recipe, you do want Honeycrisp apples or any other apple that is relatively firm but that is also sweet, because you are going to have some savory ingredients in there. But most importantly, you don't want your apples to completely disintegrate because you want to be able to actually see them in your recipe. Then you're going to take 2 sheets of frozen puff pastry and you're going to cut them into 4 pieces each. To each square of your puff pastry, you're going to add about 2 tablespoons grated sharp cheddar cheese. Then you're going to top your cheese with about 4 to 6 slices of your apples. Then you're going to take 1 whisked egg and you're going to brush the corner of the pastry in order to fold it over and pinch it to seal. And then you're going to transfer your bundles to a lightly greased cookie sheet. Brush all your bundles with the egg wash, and then you're going to sprinkle them with sea salt. Finally, you're going to bake them at 400 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes until they're lightly brown. This is a great idea for an appetizer because it's savory and it's sweet, and check that out. Look how great this pastry looks. It's perfectly baked on both sides, and this is how you want it. You don't want this to be mushy. You want to be able to take a bite out of this apple cheddar bundles and have that pastry have a little crunch. So now that we've done our appetizer, let's move on to our main dish. And well, as I said, we are doing something that is kind of classic, but we're adding a little bit of a twist to it. As all of you know, I love pork. I think pork is such an underrated meat. Pork chops and apples with a little maple syrup are, I think, one of those very classic dishes. So how about we do instead a stuffed pork loin? And check that out. It came out great. The meat is so tender. So if you're interested in delecting your palate with this stuffed pork loin, well, stay with me so I can tell you how to make it. First, to a skillet over medium-high heat, you're gonna add 8 slices chopped bacon. Cook it well and remove it from the heat before it gets crispy. Then you're gonna drain most of the fat out of your bacon and you're gonna bring the skillet back to the heat. Then you're gonna add half an onion that has been finely chopped. Once the onion starts becoming translucent, you're gonna add 2 apples that have been peeled and chopped. Then you're gonna add 3 cloves minced garlic, and finally, 1 tablespoon chopped fresh rosemary. And you're gonna continue cooking it until the apples are slightly soft. Then you're gonna remove it from the heat and set it aside. And for this recipe, I decided to use a classic apple, a Granny Smith, because it works really well with the pork. Most importantly, Granny Smiths are also a firm apple. So right here, as you can see, it didn't lose its shape. So when you bite into it, you still have a little bit of texture that is really pleasing to your palate. Next, you're gonna take a 4-pound pork loin roast, and using a sharp knife, you're gonna butterfly it. That means that you're gonna position your knife about a 3/4 inch from the bottom of the roast, and you're gonna cut into it towards the center of the pork. Then you're gonna lift half of the pork and continue making a shallow horizontal cut deeper into the roast. And you're gonna keep unrolling the top of the pork as you cut, keeping the knife parallel to the cutting board. If you follow these instructions, you are gonna form a rectangle. And I know that butterfly cutting may sound a little intimidating, but it's not really all that hard. And most importantly, it's the kind of skill that practice makes perfect. As long as you have a rectangle and the thickness of your meat is somewhat even, it should work out just great. Top the meat with your apple mixture. Then you're gonna take 1 cup prepared stuffing. Finally, you're gonna start rolling the pork loin together and you're gonna secure it with kitchen twine. Then you're going to generously season it with black pepper and sea salt. Finally, you're gonna use spicy brown mustard and you're gonna rub it all over your pork. And you're gonna bake it at 325 degrees for about 1.5 to 2 hours, or until the internal temperature registers 155 degrees. Now I know that this recipe is a little more work than I usually do, but I think that it's absolutely worth it. Pork loin is actually very affordable. I got this big 4-pound piece of meat for $9.50. So if you try this recipe at home, let me know how you like it through our social media. Now we're getting to the surprise element for this edition. And well, do you like flowers? Do you like it when people give you flowers? How about we combine the concept of flowers and the concept of apples? And that's how I came up with the idea to make apple roses. So if you want to give your family or give your loved one roses, these are a perfect option. So let me tell you how to put them together. First, you're gonna take 2 medium firm apples and you're gonna thinly slice them and place them in a bowl. Then you're gonna add 2 tablespoons lemon juice, and then you're gonna add 2 tablespoons water. And then you're gonna place your apples in the microwave and you're gonna cook them for about 2 minutes, 30 seconds at a time. And after every 30 seconds, you're gonna take them out, toss them around a little bit, and you're gonna repeat this process until the apples are flexible. Then you're gonna drain the water and set them aside. On a lightly floured surface, you're gonna unfold 1 sheet puff pastry and you're gonna cut it into 6 even strips. Roll each strip a little bit so it becomes a little longer, and then you're gonna brush it with about 1 teaspoon of strawberry preserves. Then you're gonna arrange apple slices on each strip, overlapping each apple about 1/4 inch, with the round edge sticking out of the pastry a little bit. Then starting from one end, you're gonna roll up the strip, keeping the apples in place. And then you're gonna transfer your apple roast into a prepared muffin tin. Finally, you're gonna pour about 1 tablespoon maple syrup into each roast. And you're gonna bake them at 400 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes. And when your roasts come out of the oven, you're gonna sprinkle them with chopped pecans. And then finally, what you're gonna do is you're going to sprinkle your roses with a mixture of powdered sugar and cinnamon. This is a dessert that is almost a Valentine's Day dessert, but you can make it any time of the year. There's some great recipes here, and how can you find them? Well, you can go to the Across the Fence website that is right there on your screen right now. And over there, not only you can find these recipes, but you can find many other recipes that we have done in the past in our archives. And if you're looking for good content, also remember to follow us on social media. So make sure to follow us on Twitter, now known as X. You can also like us on Facebook. And most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get all this great content right on your phone or your computer. Thank you again for letting me come into your home today to show you some recipes. Enjoy your cooking, and I'm gonna try some of these apple cheddar bundles because they look great. This is really good. I hope you also try it, Amy. It's absolutely delicious.
Yum, Marco. Thank you. And here's a tip, Vermont. For cooking and baking, choose tart, firm-fleshed apples with a high acid content. Save the sweet ones for eating out of hand. Thank you for joining us, and thanks to the team that makes Across the Fence possible. I'm Amy Finley. This is Across the Fence. Come back and let's learn and explore again tomorrow.